Welcome, everybody, to Take Control ADHD. I'm Pete Wright. That there is Nikki Kinzer.
Hello.
Happy
Welcome.
New Year.
Happy New Year. I know, we sort of took a break and sort of left.
How do you feel? How's 2015? 2015.
2015 is great.
Is it treating you okay?
It is. It's been great. Yes.
What's the best part so far? What's the best thing you've done in 2015?
Oh boy, I don't think this is the best thing I've done, but I'll tell you what I got hooked on when I was on my vacation.
Downton Abbey.
Nope.
Fruit Loops. I don't know.
It's a little bit more violent than Downton Abbey.
Oh, I do know. Does it involve Walter White?
Yes, Mr. White.
Oh, Heisenberg.
And Jesse.
Oh, they're the best. Breaking Bad. How far in are you?
I'm in season 5 now.
So
I'm ending it. But oh my gosh, Pete, I got to tell you, that show is so addicting, and it's so not what I thought I'd be interested in.
Exactly. Totally. You know? That's exactly what I thought. And it is absolutely, even though I've seen it, I am surprised that you even opened the door to it.
Well,
it seems like totally not your thing. Well, it does seem his thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he watched it last year. So he started watching it on Netflix while the last season was still on the air.
Yeah.
And so he got all the way through it and then had to wait for the finale to actually air in real time. And I actually watched the finale with him back then.
Without seeing the rest of the show? That's a horrible way to do things.
It's stupid, right? It's totally silly. But I was so curious because he had ranted and raved about it, and I thought, I'll watch the last show and see how it ends. And so I knew how it ended from the very get-go, but it didn't matter. It still doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you have no idea how they got themselves into that situation.
Exactly.
And that's the whole show is all about. I really believe it's about the writers going into this writer's room and rolling like a 20-sided die to just see what is the craziest bananas thing we could put these characters, this situation we could put these characters into, and let's see how it's like a game for how we get them out of it.
Well, and what's interesting is that AMC had a marathon of it. And so I took the 2 weeks off, right? I took basically 2 weeks off and I was just at home. And there were definitely 2 days. And I'm embarrassed to even say this because I'm like, I can't believe I did this. But for 2 days, I binged watched the show. And so the marathon was on a Sunday and the pilot was coming on. And I thought, I'll just watch the first show and see if I'm even interested. Like, I'm just going to watch the first pilot. What harm is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't stop watching TV until 11 o'clock that night. Now, granted, I did do other stuff. I wasn't on the couch the entire time. I did manage to put the Christmas decorations away, and I cleaned up the kitchen, and I did laundry. I mean, I was doing stuff as I was watching the show. But I can honestly say I basically watched the show for 2 days, because then Sunday I go to bed and I need to know what's happening. And so Monday morning I'm watching it again.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and you feel like when you've watched several episodes of that show in a row, you sort of feel like you have the bends. Like when it comes out of it, I would walk around the house with the shakes.
Well, and then Brad, my husband, would start watching it again too, even though he's already watched it. He would start watching it too, and so he's watching the last season with me. And every once in a while, you'll hear him in the hallway. Hey, Mr. White. And so yeah, we're totally into this, and I'm not done yet. So I'll probably finish it this week because I really am curious to know what happens to these characters. But man, there were some scenes I had to look away. There's no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of violence, and certainly the subject is not, very namaste.
Yeah. You know what's fascinating about it, though, is that it's not it's a show where the vehicle of the message is like drugs and the drug industry, but it's not a show about drugs. It's a show about a man trying to figure out how to take his power back and go really wrong in the process. And I find that really interesting. There's a show on the Sundance Channel called The Writer's Room, where Jim Rash, if you know Jim Rash, he was the the dean on Community. Fantastic show that is sadly
ending
and coming back. I think maybe a Netflix thing. I'm not sure, but anyway, Jim Rash is a very funny guy. He's also a screenwriter, and he's an Oscar-winning screenwriter. But now I've said it, I can't remember the film he won the Oscar for. Anyhow, he hosts this show called The Writers' Room, and they invite the writing team from various shows to talk about their craft. And if you're interested at all in Breaking Bad, episode 9, I think, of The Writers' Room involves the team from Breaking Bad, and it's fascinating to hear them talk about how they create this show. It's just wonderful.
And you know what I love about Netflix is total promotion of Netflix, but it's so cool to watch a show like this and not have to wait for the new episode. I'm so glad to know that I'm going to know the ending, you know, that I don't have to sit there and wait. Right. Yeah. But I know not all shows are like that because obviously there's a lot of great shows that are on the air right now. But
well, the nostalgia play, and then we can talk about what we're really here to talk about.
Yes.
But the nostalgia play is that just this weekend, Netflix released all 293 episodes of Friends.
Oh, I love that show.
And my wife and I started watching it from the beginning, and it is so funny.
It is, isn't it?
And how well it sort of holds up. It's got that, we're still in sort of the first season, it's still got that kind of awkward thing, but you know what? I want to know what happens with Ross and Rachel already.
I know. Well, and it is. Those are one of that show and Seinfeld too. I think are shows that no matter how many times you've watched them, they still make you laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think I don't know if I shared this on the show before or not, but there was an evening where I had an old Seinfeld episode on, and my son happened to be watching it, and he was laughing. He was sitting there laughing, and I was just like, that is so awesome that a 12-year-old kid can see the humor.
Yeah, right.
In George's Boss. The New York Yankees.
George Costanza. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, yes. And then there was another gift that I received that's kind of technical that I wanted to share.
Oh, let's talk about it.
You always talk about the technical stuff.
I do. Oh, I'm so excited. What is it?
Yes, it's that app called Next Issue.
Oh, all right. Talk about it. So
my dear sister actually bought it, and it's $14.99 a month, and I guess it's good to up to 5 different devices, and so she's letting me be one of her devices. And so I got on, and it's called Next Issue, and it has all of these magazines, like every magazine you can think of. The only magazine that I couldn't find on it is Reader's Digest, but everything,
which is actually ironic.
I know.
That's the one thing you can't find.
But they had everything. They had all of the exercise, cooking. They have men's lifestyle, health, Consumer Reports, Time, Sports Illustrated. I mean, they have all of these magazines that you could possibly think of. And basically you download the magazine that you want, and then it will ask you if you want to know when the next issue comes up, and you can say yes or no. And when you're done with the issue, you delete it, or you can keep it on your device. But I'm not exactly, you would know if that's good or bad. But, and yeah, I mean, basically you have access to past issues. Like, so if you click on something, I clicked on Real Simple the other day because they have this whole January issue of Letting Go. And so I was reading through that, and I can look and I can actually get access to all of the old Real Simples if I want to. Mm-hmm. I mean, this app is amazing. How they do it, I don't know. I'm assuming that these companies probably get a percentage of every download or something. I don't know how they get paid, but Next Issue, it's a great app. I absolutely loved it, especially if you like magazines. I mean, if that's your thing, this is a great way to go.
Well, I agree. One of the things that's really interesting about it is that you can read your magazines on the iPhone. I believe, right? Have you tried it on your iPhone?
I haven't. I've only tried it on my iPad.
Well, it's probably the same technology underlying the iPad that underlies a standalone edition, because you can subscribe, on to magazines not inside of Next Issue right on the iPad, right? They have this the reading list kind of a thing, the newsstand, and buy them from the App Store. And so I don't read a lot of magazines, so I only have a couple that I subscribe directly to: Entertainment and Writing Magazine, Backstory is a great magazine, and Wired. Those are my 4 magazines. And but what's so great about this is that it really does. It lets you can't read those magazines on the iPhone through Apple's native stuff and through Next Issue. If you can actually access these magazines on your iPhone too. So it's great for like standing in line and things like that. So
yeah,
fascinating. What a great pick. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I know. I felt so technical. I'm like, Pete would be so proud of me.
Oh,
I'm canceling all of my subscriptions.
Good
Not that
for
I have
you.
very many. I only have a couple, but I'm canceling them
You
because
should.
they're on Next Issue.
Yeah. So, why do you want that clutter in the paper?
Exactly.
Well, and that gets to our conversation today, really.
Yes.
Happy New Year. And, I mean, this is the season. Usually we talk a little bit about resolutions and starting the year. But this year we're talking about getting clear.
Yes. And this was actually motivated or inspired, I should say, by a coaching conversation that I had with my own mentor coach about sort of the year ahead of me and what I was looking to do with my business and what I'm looking to do on a personal level. And one of the things that she really encouraged me to do is just to really get clear in January. Like January is the month for me to just get clear. And I thought, well, what a great thing to kind of pass on to people because, I love the New Year's resolution idea. I mean, it packages things up in such a nice, neat way. It's a new year. It's a new beginning for people. And I think that's fantastic. But the problem I have with it is I think that any time of the year is a good time for you to start over if something in your life is really holding you back. And so, even though, yes, here we are, January 5th, and this is what we're talking about, and it makes sense. I don't know. There's something about it. I just feel a little restricted. Like it doesn't have to just be the new year. It can be any time of the year that you make changes, right?
Well, I think that's important too. I mean, we talk about resolutions in kind of different contexts. And the benefit to New Year's resolutions is that if you're not a person who's accustomed to making change, it's a nice reminder because everyone's doing it.
Right.
And so it's better to kind of say, okay, it's January. I get it. It's a reminder. I'm going to start doing the hard stuff, and I'm going to cut out the stuff that's maybe hurting me. I'm at least going to reflect. But there is something about building a life habit around reflection and clarity that is more than just January.
Absolutely. Well, and it has that bad reputation that, I'm going to make all these changes in January, but then in February, they're all gone. Yeah. And that's, again, that pressure that I don't want people to feel because you can't give up. You can't give up just because maybe you had some roadblocks or some things got in your way.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that, going back to what she was saying, for me, making January sort of this month of clarity, it sort of puts things in perspective as far as that I don't have to just start January 1st. Like January is really going to be the time for me to explore new ideas and really explore what it is that I want and why I want that and what makes it important. And so that's kind of where I wanted to go a little bit with it today is that, figure out how can you at home that's listening or in your car, how can you get that own clarity? And I tell you, the first thing I'm going to do is write it down. And that's what I've been doing. I have this little notebook that I carry around with me and I write things down. I write ideas down. I write things that I want to do and what I hope for my business and what I hope for my family. And I just start writing. And the only criteria that I have to that is I date it. So if I started in December, so I think the first thing was December 16th, and then I've just been, dating almost like a journal, right? Just sort of a brainstorming journal. Have you ever done anything like that before?
Oh, yeah. I carry around, I love these little notebooks. They're called Field Notes. And Field Notes, you can subscribe to Field Notes. It's such a great thing. They send you like a couple of packets of these little tiny, they're like, 3x5 notebooks of 48 pages each, and they fit in your pocket. And I love carrying them around just to do, like you say, like to sit down, or even just in at a traffic light, waiting to cross a street, hey, I had an idea, pull it out of my pocket and make a little note. It's that thing that you can do super, super quickly. And again, we've talked about how nice it feels sometimes just to have a pen and paper, even for those of us who tend to be more digital.
Right.
It's such a benefit to be able to clear your head at the time when you think about it. So
yeah,
I carry them around I have a couple of them I carry around actually in my briefcase. One is for, a book I'm working on, and it's really just for the book. And the other one is for general client notes, and so I like to keep them kind of kind of separated like that. They're just so small and easy.
Absolutely. And it captures the idea because you're going to forget, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that I keep thinking to myself is that just capture everything, even if you think it may not be something you would do.
Yeah.
If it comes to mind, write it down, right? Because there may still be something there that you're just not seeing yet. And so one of the things that I'm doing on a personal level is I'm just letting January be that brainstorming month. I'm not necessarily taking any specific action on anything yet. I just want to take this time, kind of reflect, like reflection of what you were saying, reflective of last year. And, TCO went through a lot of changes last year. I went from TCO to take control of your ADHD, right? So there's a lot of things going on in my business that I'm changing and have changed. And so I just want to take that time to just kind of reflect and see what went well and where I want to go. And it takes the pressure off a little bit. And I'm doing this with my personal goals as well too. So there's the things that I want to do on a personal level. Then my next step really is February. I think is going to be more of my action month. That's going to be the time that I'm going to actually take one or two of these ideas and really start to implement them. And we've talked about this before, and it's important to break those things down, right? So if your goal is to get organized, that's too big of a goal. So we need to break that down. And so for me, if it's to continuing this path of healthy eating, clean eating, meditation, yoga, those are the kind of the personal things that I'm working on. Then break it down into smaller pieces so that I don't trap myself into thinking too big. Like all of a sudden, starting February 1st, I have to do this, this, and this. It may just be simply drinking more water that day. Right. And or giving up soda or meditating for 5 minutes. I mean, it could be whatever it is for anyone. But just really breaking it down and figuring out how you're going to do this, when you're going to do it, and then start really implementing it and making it happen. And that's those habits. That's those habits that you were kind of hitting on a little bit, because they end up becoming more of a lifestyle and not just something you're trying to change, and then they may go away. After a couple months. We don't want these things to go away because you've taken the time to really think about how important they are and why they're important.
Right. That's one of those things I've been thinking about a lot as we've made the transition to the new year, and particularly you bring up health and fitness. For me, I spent a lot of 2014 at the gym, and then then right around October, November, I got sick, and I got sick for a long time, and was out, and I never kind of got back into the habit of hitting the gym. And so, I had this embarrassing, kind of event. I went to the gym for the first time the day before yesterday since late October. And when you sign in, a little bell goes off and it says, ding, ding, ding. And I said, hey, that doesn't sound like the normal thing. He said, well, the guy at the front desk said, well, I'm supposed to greet you differently. And I said, why? He says, well, because it's been a long time. It's been since, October 22nd, since you've been here.
Really? They called you out on it?
I said, oh, hell. He said, yeah, I know. They tell me to throw kind of a party, but people tend to be a little sensitive. So I just want to tell you, welcome back. We don't mean anything by it, and here's to a great year. But I thought, it's so funny. Like, they have just made themselves my accountability partner, because now that's what I'm thinking about as I reflect on 2014. Health and fitness, it worked well for me in 2014. It really did. And I feel like I got sidetracked by this other event, but it after a good workout, I remembered why I enjoyed it. I remembered why I enjoyed going to the gym and feeling like I was sore kind of a little bit all day long, like I'd worked hard. And so that's one of those things I think to reflect on, for me at least, is to remember what really worked well and how can I refine that as we move into this next year. Well,
and what I absolutely love about what you just said is really to it goes right into a point that I wanted to make anyway, is that you can't give up. And that's exactly what you didn't do. You saw that, yes, I have this gap. There was this period of time where it didn't happen for me, and you were sick. And that's a very valid reason of not going to the gym. And I know you were really sick. You were like sick.
Yeah.
This wasn't just like a cold that got over in a week. So, you had a huge roadblock in front of you, and you persevered, and you went there. And you still, even with the bell ringing in your ears, you were able to still go there. And that's what I would want the listeners to think about is exactly what you did, Pete, is just don't give up on it. If it's been working for you, and just because there's been a time lapse doesn't mean that you can't get back and doing it again. Because really, honestly, all of us have those setbacks. All of us are going to have roadblocks. And, you almost have to expect that it's going to be hard, that first workout going back after a few months is going to be hard. Every workout might be hard,
right.
For you. But if it wasn't hard, then it probably wouldn't be on your list of something that you want to change, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was easy, you would already be doing it. And you've seen the advantages. So I love that story, and I'm so glad you bring it up, because it's so important that people know and understand that you still have each day is a new day to make a different choice. And it really doesn't matter what you did last week or last month or didn't do. You can choose whatever you need to choose today.
Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that very thing, that it's this idea of, it goes back to something it's kind of a perennial favorite for us, which is this idea of clogging tasks. It would have been very easy to let my mind go into that place of, I need to go back to the gym. But you know what? None of my socks are clean, and my shoes are kind of broken. I need new shoes. And so, gosh, and I without going to the gym, I have, that extra hour of time to get something done for a client or for a project I'm working on. And, how easy would it be to just let those sort of superficial justifications or rationalizations for my decisions get in the way of doing something that ultimately is really good. And of course, I'm not the first to say it. Once you go to the gym, you always end up being more productive. You get more work done. Your head is clearer after you've worked out a bit. It certainly is true for me.
Absolutely.
So.
Oh, there's science to it. I mean, it's proven.
Proven by science.
Yes, right? And I'm not talking about Mr. White science.
No. No.
No.
Say my name.
I just had to throw in there.
I love it.
Well, and on one last note, I always want to tell people too to check your mindset, right? Because I think that when you come to that choice of, do I go to the gym? Do I not go to the gym? Do I work on this project, or, do I not? Whatever it is that you're working on, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the positive, or you're focusing on the negative? And how is it serving you? So if you're focusing on the negative, is it serving you? If you're focusing on the positive, how is that serving you? And just really paying attention to where your mind is, and being more aware of how you look at things. And it's exactly what you said. You could have made every excuse in the world to not go to the gym, but you focused on the positive results of, I know this is going to make me feel better. Right. And so that's what I'm paying attention to. And look, you did it. And my guess is that you'll go again.
Today's the day.
Today's the day. So anyway, I'm not saying that this is the way that, everybody should do it. I'm just sharing my experience that January is kind of my month to get clear, and February is going to be my month to implement. However, if you're ready to go to the gym today, go to the gym. Please don't let that stop you.
Don't wait till February.
Yeah, that's not the point. The point is not to have February be your new Year's. Everybody does it a little bit differently, and this is just the way that I've chosen to do it this year. So please let us know what you're doing. We'd love to hear it.
And, be on the lookout on our Facebook page, on the website. We'll put this in a blog post, and on Twitter. We're gonna start taking calls. We would very much like to hear more of your voices. We have wonderful people. You are wonderful people when you write in and you share comments and questions. We're also going to add this other channel. You can pick up the phone and you can call us and leave us a voicemail. We won't answer. It's not a manned number, but you can leave us a voicemail, and we would love to take more of your thoughts thoughts and actually put them in the show and talk about things that you are more interested in talking about too. So thank you for everyone who has written, who's left us kind comments and kind iTunes reviews, which, as a reminder, really does help other people discover the show. So thank you so much to everybody. And gosh, how do you want to welcome people to 2015, Nikki? What's your final word of wisdom?
Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Get clear, go to the gym. Don't wait till February. That's it.
Don't wait. Don't wait
till February.
Do what you need to do. Yeah.
Namaste.
Yeah. I don't. Namaste. That's right.
On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright. Check us out at Take Control ADHD. And until next week, happy 2015, everybody. Thanks for listening.